Hey everyone, today we're diving into the King of Fighters AFK and talking about the fighters that really make a difference in your team. You know, the ones that crush it with insane DPS, insane buffs, and perfect synergies. We're mostly talking about the LE fighters here because, honestly, they're the real game changers. If you're still rocking those UQ fighters, don't worry, they're great to start with, but as you progress, you'll want to swap them out for stronger units. Now, I'm not even going to touch on NR or EP fighters because let's be real, they're just filler characters. We're here to focus on the best of the best, the ones that make your battles smoother and your wins feel effortless. So buckle up because I'm about to break down my tier list and show you which fighters should be leading your squad in the King of Fighters AFK. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking fighters in the King of Fighters AFK. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The fighters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Tizok, Iori, Chang, Goro, Dolores, Bao, Hua, Marlin, Momoko, Xiangfei, Vice, Mature, Lucky, Leona, Kyo2, AG, Heavy D, Raiden, Seth, Hinako, Kyo1, Duck King, Lin, Takuma, Choi, Shingo, Chin, and Brian. Let's talk about the you'll survive but don't get too comfy squad. The C and D tiers in the King of Fighters AFK now. C tier fighters are basically the upper echelon of the uncommon fighters, so they are solid. But let's be honest, they are no legendary fighters. They're like the training wheels before you ride a Harley. You've got characters like Mature, Chang, and Goro. Mature is decent for a balance, Chang can hit some respectable combos, and Goro, well, he's surprisingly sturdy for a starter, but don't expect him to carry your late game battles. These fighters can definitely help you get going, especially if you're just learning the ropes, but once you unlock legendary fighters, it's time to swap them out. Now, sliding down a notch, we've got the D tier fighters. These are the I'm here but I know I'm replaceable kind of characters. You'll likely be using them at the very beginning of the game when your options are limited. Think of them as the polite guests who show up to a party but leave as soon as the headliner arrives. They get the job done, sure, but their limited power and status slots make them easy to outshine. Basically, don't get too attached. Once you start collecting higher tier fighters, it's time to let these guys go and watch your team's power level soar. But hey, don't completely write off C and D tiers, they have their charm. C tier fighters like Mature, Chang, and Goro give you a taste of strategy and let you experiment with combos without immediately getting crushed. D tier fighters, meanwhile, teach you patience and how to survive early battles without legendary support. So, while they aren't the stars of the show, they're the unsung heroes of your early grind. Just remember, treat them well, learn what they can do, and then upgrade your roster as fast as you can to legendary fighters. You'll thank yourself later when your enemies are crying under your fully maxed out team. The fighters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Yamazaki, Mary, Kasumi, Antonov, Andy, Chris, Yashiro, Kim, and Robert. Now we've officially entered the actually kind of useful zone, the B tier fighters in the King of Fighters AFK. These are the units that aren't quite legendary, but they can really hold their own when you need them. Let's kick things off with Kasumi. She's a decent pick if you're working on endurance synergy, giving your team a nice boost to defense. She's solid in the front line and can take a hit without immediately collapsing, which is always a relief when you're juggling fights and just praying your units don't all die at once. Next up is Yashiro, the team helper of B tier. He's got decent spike synergy and does exactly what you want from a filler unit. Buffs defense for all your allies. That's right, B tier is all about supporting your squad until you get those shiny legendary fighters. Yashiro won't carry the team solo, but he keeps everyone a little safer and lets you experiment with strategies without feeling completely underpowered. Then we've got Antonov, who's pretty straightforward. If you're lacking higher tier fighters, he can step in nicely for Fury synergy. He doesn't bring crazy utility or fancy tricks to the table, but he deals decent damage, and sometimes that's all you need. Think of him as your reliable, show up, do your thing, no drama fighter. Sometimes, being consistent is more valuable than flashy abilities, especially in those tricky mid-game stages. Finally, we have Yamazaki, the sneaky little powerhouse of B tier. He's a decent alternative for rush strategies and comes with a strong defense down debuff. Plus, his passive increases the counter rate, which can be surprisingly good in the right setup. He's not going to blow up your enemies instantly, but with the right team behind him, he can really swing the battle in your favor. Basically, B tier is all about utility, reliability, and giving your squad that extra nudge to survive until the legendary fighters take over. The fighters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ryo, Kensu, Isla, Maitenkun, Clark, Ralph, Krauser, and Shen. Alright, now we're stepping into this is where things start getting serious territory. A tier fighters in the King of Fighters AFK. First on the list is Isla. She's an absolute beast if you're looking to maximize Death Blow synergy with Kusanagi. Her single target damage is insane, and here's the kicker. She can chain her finisher by killing units with it. That means if enemies are already weakened, Isla can just sweep through them like a hot knife through butter. Seriously, she's the kind of fighter that makes you feel like a tactical genius every time her finisher lands. Next up, we have Clark, the defense buff machine of the A tier. He's a powerful solid synergy unit and reminds you a little of Rugal in how he boosts your team's defense. If you're building a team that needs a reliable tanky presence while still dishing out solid damage, Clark is the guy you want front and center. He keeps your squad standing longer, which in turn gives your DPS units more time to shine. Then there's Ryo, who's basically the drama queen of the A tier. He thrives when he's low on health, thanks to his passive that increases damage the lower his HP gets. But don't worry, he regenerates HP on kills, so he's like a self-sustaining little monster. Ryo dishes out incredible single target and adjacent damage, making him an amazing death blow unit. He's perfect for players who love a bit of high risk, high reward gameplay. Finally, let's talk about Ralph. He pairs beautifully with Clark for solid synergy, creating a mini powerhouse combo on your team. But Ralph isn't just a sidekick, he buffs your team's attack, giving your squad that extra punch when you need it most. Think of him as the secret sauce that takes your already strong team and turns it into a punchy, well-rounded squad capable of handling almost any fight. A-tier fighters are all about power, synergy, and making your team feel unstoppable. The fighters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Tung, Maxima, Ramon, Saisu, Billy, Yuri, Mr., Big, Mei, and Joe. Alright, now we've officially reached the oh wow, these units actually make you feel unstoppable zone. S-tier fighters in the King of Fighters AFK. First up, Tung. He's a fantastic endurance option, especially if you pair him with Athena and King. But what really makes him shine is his skill that grants a barrier to teammates, letting them tank hits like absolute champs. Honestly, some might even call him SSS tier because of that barrier, but I'm keeping him in S for now since his damage isn't exactly breaking the charts. Next, we've got Saisu, a must-have if you're running a corrosion team focused on damage over time. He specializes in burn effects and is basically the king of DOT. On top of that, his star effects boost both his DOT and overall attack buffs, making him a reliable powerhouse who keeps chipping away at enemies while looking stylish doing it. If you love seeing numbers slowly tick down as enemies sweat under your pressure, Saisu is your guy. Then there's Mr. Big, the master of debuffs. Unlike Saisu, he focuses on paralysis, skipping enemy turns and giving your team free reign to deal damage. He also applies shock, which constantly damages enemies over time. He's a total nightmare for your opponents and a dream for you if you enjoy strategic control over fights. Basically, having Mr. Big on your team is like having a cheat code for annoying enemies. Joe rounds out your corrosion squad with the Laceration DOT effect. His passive ensures that Laceration targets continue taking damage whenever your allies hit them, making him the perfect complement to Saisu and Mr. Big. With him in the mix, your corrosion team becomes a relentless machine, chipping away at enemy health while they scramble to survive. He's all about teamwork and making sure your DOT effects hit like a hammer every single turn. Finally, Maxima steps in as a solid Fury DPS. He's all about stunning enemies and using hits to recharge PG, then unleashing his AoE finisher with Fury synergy bonuses for maximum damage. He's straightforward, reliable, and can carry fights just with his raw DPS potential. Maxima is the kind of fighter who makes you feel like you've got a safety net while still dishing out huge numbers, basically the icing on your already monstrous S-tier cake. The fighters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Athena, Orochi Yori, Orochi Leona, Rugal, Benamaru, Mai, Chizuru, Mai, Shunei, Kusanagi, Chun, and King. Let's talk about the absolute titans of the King of Fighters AFK, the S+ tier fighters. These are the units that make everything else feel like training wheels. And honestly, some of them are basically the definition of power creep. First up, Orochi Yori. This guy is insane. His madness effect combined with a team HP buff through his own effect makes him drastically more powerful than most legendary fighters. On top of that, he has a 30% to 50% HP self-revive passive and deals amazing critical damage with his finisher. Basically, he's the kind of fighter that makes you feel like you've hacked the game and your enemies are just along for the ride. Next, Orochi Leona. Like Iori, she's a monster in her own right, but instead of HP buffs, she gives your whole team an ATK buff with her owned effect. She also has Solo Frenzy and deals the same insane crit damage with her finisher. Instead of a revive, she gets a one-turn ignore death effect and buffs her own damage the lower her HP goes, with up to 50% boost thanks to her max star effect. She's insanely versatile, powerful on her own, and an absolute godsend for your team setup. Now, let's talk Athena, the new Legendary Edition version. She's an amazing support character who brings tons of buffs like ATK and critical to your team. Place her in the back row and your frontline DPS units start doing crazy damage while she also provides a DEX buff. On top of that, she's one of the best endurance synergy fighters and works beautifully with other top tier units. Athena is basically the glue that holds your S+ tier dream team together. Chizuru is up next. Alongside Mai, she's your go-to Fury synergy fighter for boosting finisher skill damage. She's a solid single target boss killer, but also has an AoE finisher, making her extremely flexible. Thanks to her passive dodges and the Mirror of Yatta EVA buffs with star effects, she can also be surprisingly tanky. If you need a fighter who can dish out massive damage and survive longer than expected, Chizuru is your answer. Speaking of Mai, she's another top Fury synergy unit. Straight up, she's a DPS monster who can spam her finisher skill endlessly thanks to her passive, especially when you've stacked star effects. Plus, she buffs herself, which means she keeps scaling her damage throughout the fight. Mai is simple but devastating, perfect for players who love seeing numbers explode on the screen. Rugal is next, and this guy deserves a moment of respect. He has spike synergy and overall solid DPS, but he really shines because he buffs your team's defense massively. Pair him with your Orochi options, and you can stack buffs super quickly, making your team almost impossible to kill. He's basically a frontline tank generator with a side of offense. Rugal is the Swiss Army knife you didn't know you needed. Shunei is one of the best rush DPS fighters in the game. He deals incredible damage by stacking bonus attacks and self buffs, critical with star effects. If you're running a team that loves speed and finishing fights quickly, Shunei is a must-have. He's the kind of fighter that punishes hesitation and rewards aggressive playstyles. Now, Kusanagi, the ultimate death blow synergy unit. He can stun enemies, which is insanely strong in harder modes, and drastically boost the damage enemies take with his passive. He's a bit fragile though, so you'll want to make sure he gets the HP recovery star effect to keep him alive. When used correctly, Kusanagi is a total game changer for high difficulty battles. Orochi Yori and Orochi Leona show us why S+ tier exists. Sheer, ridiculous power. These two alone can carry fights that would crush lower tier teams. Their combination of self buffs, team buffs, and critical finisher damage makes them terrifying in the right hands. You'll often find that battles are over before your opponent even realizes what hit them. Athena and Chizuru take the support and flexibility angles, showing that S+ tier isn't just about raw damage. Athena's buffs and synergy elevate your whole squad, while Chizuru can adapt to both single target bosses and AoE situations. They complement the damage monsters perfectly, turning your S+ tier lineup into a well-oiled machine. Mai and Rugal cover the high damage, high utility roles. Mai is pure DPS spamming finishers, while Rugal provides defense and attack stacking, making sure the team survives long enough to finish fights in style. Together, they balance raw destruction with survivability, which is exactly what S+ tier is all about. Shunei and Kusanagi demonstrate the importance of specialized roles. Shunei's rush synergy and crit stacking make him a perfect finisher, while Kusanagi's death blow abilities and stuns turn tough enemies into easy pickings. Their skill kits reward smart positioning and timing, which is part of what makes S+ tier feel so satisfying to use. Don't forget that these S+ tier fighters also showcase some of the wildest synergy potential in the game. Orochi units, Fury units, Rush units, they all have interactions that make them more than the sum of their parts. Combining them correctly can result in combos that obliterate content that would otherwise feel impossible. Star effects also make a massive difference here. Many S+ tier fighters have passives and boosts that only come alive with high stars, turning already strong abilities into game-breaking skills. This is where planning your upgrades and prioritizing resources really pays off. S+ tier isn't just about being strong, it's about creating a team that feels unstoppable. Whether you want raw damage, insane buffs, or a team that never dies, these fighters cover all angles. They make mid-tier fighters look like toys and S-tier units like warm-ups. In short, S+ tier is where you go when you want to dominate every battle, make your friends jealous, and feel like a total King of Fighters AFK legend. With Orochi Iori, Orochi Leona, Efina, Chizuru, Mai, Rugal, Shunei, Shidani, and Kusanagi on your roster, there's almost nothing you can't handle. These fighters aren't just good, they're absurdly powerful, and once you unlock them, you'll wonder how you ever played without them. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.